Rise and shine. Pour yourself a cup of coffee and tune in to Good Morning Aurora. News, weather, and really cool interviews. Monday through Friday from 8 to 9 a.m.
I think this area kind of works better than the other place. I think it was like an office. I think.
Yeah, it's so quiet.
Yeah, this is a lot more quiet.
It's
yeah,
like an actual designed studio.
All right. So Dan Barrero, we're gonna start out like that. Yeah. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora.
Good morning, Aurora.
What is up, everybody?
Wait, we have a special guest.
Yeah, we do.
Too.
Damn, hold on.
You get to speak too. Hold on, we're doing this all over again. Yeah.
Let's run it back. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora. Good morning, Aurora.
Good morning, Aurora.
Good morning, Aurora.
Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that's better. That's right.
Yeah.
So here's the thing. You got a lot of good mornings. Stan Barrera's here. Good morning, and TGIF. That's right. We got a special guest today. We have Raul Rodea on Jenettesplaining. He's an artist known by the moniker Fundamental.
That's right.
How you feeling?
Excellent.
Good. Got your iced Americano.
Yes.
Sipping it up.
Fancy.
Jeanette, how are you?
I most weekend, that big weekend of fun things happened. Found some of the
Good.
Yeah.
Good. And yeah, we're all doing good today. So Renee Cruz, Judge, what is up, Judge? How you feeling?
Yeah. Good to see you. The entertaining show. We're all just like, yeah, today sucks.
Yeah, because it doesn't suck. It never sucks.
We owe it to bring everybody charging into the weekend with good vibes.
That is right.
Right.
Victoria Halamaldonado is here. Good morning to you, dear sister. Aisha Saxon, what is up? And Greg Ellsbury, good blessed morning, Aurora. So Raul here is an artist, been around. For those who don't know you, talk about your story briefly before we get into some headlines.
So pretty brief. I've been doing, the questions I get asked is, when did you start doing art? Honestly, I can't really remember when I really, started doing art.
Mm-hmm.
All I remember was, I was a kid. I don't know if it was like kindergarten or if it was before, I started kindergarten.
Damn.
But I remember I would just, grab my action figures and Spider-Man. Then I had a small notebook. I would just have my Crayolas,
mm-hmm.
Hold one of my action figures on one side, one hand, and then on the other side, just kind of draw, look at the action figures, and then kind of grab Crayolas. Just kind of do a few of them, and obviously it's not like, anyone would tell me like, oh, you got to do this. It's your homework. It was just like, all right, I'm bored playing with my action figures, let me go ahead. Just, do some drawings, doodle with my Crayolas. That's like the earliest that I can remember. And I guess, just going to school, elementary, middle school, high school. I guess art class was like, yeah, I'm excited to go there.
Right.
Out of all the other classes, I was like, I can't wait to go to art class again, So,
oh, yeah.
And so I guess eventually, in high school, that's where I just, it was like, oh, you know what? I think I'm finding my passion, which is art, going to art class. And, that's where I feel like I can evolve, compared to other classes.
Okay.
And
art's way more fun than math.
It is, definitely. Well, at least for me.
Yeah.
So,
some people people math is their thing. Like,
that's
oh my
thing.
God, these numbers.
Right.
Yeah.
Not for me, art.
Right.
So, and it just happened to be sophomore year. I had an art class, and that's where I met. His name is Chaos. He's a tattoo artist at the moment. But that's where I met him. I had seen, it was like homecoming week, and we had to do different themes, for, posters, movie night, car show, I forgot all the things, but
Wait, put us in space. What school?
West Aurora High
Word
School.
up, yes.
Black
Shout out to
Hawks.
the West and all that. Shout out to West.
And yeah, I had we had to do movie night. That was like the theme for that day. And I just suddenly see a lot of people just gathering behind Chaos. I didn't know him at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
He was just like sitting across the class.
You have 3 tattoos in the back.
He was doing a drawing. He was doing a drawing at that day.
West Aurora, this is not outside the realm of possibility.
Yeah,
right.
And I'm just like, oh, like, who's this guy? There's a bunch of people behind him, and they'll have their phones out, and I'm like, well, what's going on? Like, there's a bunch of people behind him, and I'm just like, let me just stand up. Let me pretend like I'm throwing something out on the trash. And I take a look, I'm walking over and I peek and I see it's all just colorful the way he did, graffiti letters, he airbrushed it. And so it was like, wow, like I had to admit, like, I was like, wow, like this, like I've never seen something like this, And so it just so happened that at the end of the day, that day, I find out that he has 2 lockers away from me. So then it was like, oh, hey, like I saw you're in my art class and I saw you with that drawing.
Right.
I really liked it. And I was like, how much do you want for it? And he was like, honestly, you can just have it. And I was like, no, seriously, like how much you want for it? He was like, no, you can just keep it. And so it was just like, oh, like, word? Like, are you serious?
So Chaos was like a mentor and a positive influence all in the same person.
Yeah, it was. I mean, just his willingness to just hand me his drawing that he made, almost on the spot. And so, just the whole color scheme and just the flow, just everything. It was just like, it really impacted me. And it was just like, wow, like I have to step it up,
Okay. Now, we also have some artists in the chat. Josue says art is life. And our dear friend Dan says love art, started sketching in kindergarten. Very cool. Nice. Lots of art stuff.
What I think is funny about this story is that this is always the kind of thing that, at least in my experience, was the sort of thing they would have tried to stamp out, right? Like, there'd be a big group of kids all gathered around, like, someone doing something cool, and they'd be like, get back to your seats, right? We've got geometry to learn. Right? And yet we're talking to people who are now making their livings, or at least part of them, right? On things that on actual artistic pursuits.
For sure.
Shout out to those teachers who just let the kids doodle.
Yeah, exactly. All right, so we've got some local stuff to talk about, guys. We got a couple of things. We'll get our dear friend Raul's perspective on things such as redistricting, such as the Alley Art Festival as well. The time is now 8:10 a.m. Norman Peterson's here. Good morning to you, Norman Peterson, and Uni Camacho. What is up? Okay, so jumping right into it, Alley Art Festival?
It's this weekend.
It is this weekend.
It's this weekend,
Tomorrow.
and I don't have all the details, right? But like, I do know that it is absolutely the place to be this weekend. So, and they're going to be unveiling a ton of murals in town.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, and you've got some work this weekend, not in Alley Art Fest, but I know you've been busy at work. Why don't you tell us about the project that you're working on downtown, right?
Yeah. So I'm actually doing a part of the utility box mural, and it's the one located on Society 57.
Okay.
So I guess the theme was to do something with architecture or history, something historic of downtown Aurora. So I guess my design, it's an abstract form of 3 domes. Basically, one of them is a Hobbs building.
Okay.
It's like the big black, and it has like the gray or teal, little pointy.
The onion dome.
Yeah.
It's no longer on there.
Yeah.
But yeah.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I had to
Right.
put it though. I had to put it though.
I used to live downtown. It was like, I remember it. And then I remember it was gone. I was like, damn, it don't even look the same no more.
It was like, they've got it, so they have it stored.
Right.
It's in a garage. They can stick it back on. It's just if they had left it, they were afraid it was going to fall off and like land on somebody.
Yeah.
So.
And then the other one is the Fire Museum on Broadway. It has like 3 like domes.
Okay.
They're like teal. I That's also another one. And then the third one is I forgot the name, but it's like a tea spot on a corner of LaSalle. I think it's.
The tea room, the Calla Lily tea room. So that's the building on LaSalle, the corner of LaSalle and Bend.
I think
that's
that has the lovely mural by Josh and Rebecca on it. Yeah, with all the lettuce.
And so that's another, has like a brown dome. So I just thought, you know what, let me do something with that. I think they have to do all three with architecture and being historic. And I just also included another abstract shape of the sculpture located on Galena. Forgot the name of it honestly, but it's like that blue sculpture, kind of like abstract. Also, kind of included part of that into like the design, and then just the background's going to be like a sunset. So
very cool. So also on Saturday there's Bomb the Lot. That's from noon to 8 p.m. Aurora Public Art's going to be hosting DJs and 16 street artists live painting Aurora's first sanctioned street art gallery and art gallery in Public Parking Lot H at 14 Middle Avenue. For those of you who don't know, that is the miscellaneous parking lot back there behind Glasshopper and Dakari to go. Used to be Spizzico's.
I'm a big fan of Dakari's.
Yep. The Alley Art Festival is going to have art, food, music, and spectacle as well. International muralist Rafael Blanco, an Aurora resident originally from Spain, will be installing a 40-foot mural on 105 East Galena. And also taking place right now is the Mexican folk art depicting alebrijes.
Is it close? Is that close?
I'm not
sure. Karina, what's up? So I hope I didn't mess that up too bad. Christopher Lucero is installing 3 large-scale prints of his calaveras at Chicago Series on the east side of 36 West Downer. The time is now 8:14 a.m.
So basically, if you walk anywhere downtown Aurora, you're going to be tripping over art.
Seriously, it's art status.
Amazing. So Saturday, Alley Art Fest is noon to 5 in the alley.
I think I saw a map, and I think it's part of it's there, and then they also kind of spread it. I don't remember honestly where. I think there's three spots.
Here's our advice: start on the alley, and then you will get directed around to all of the amazing art that's happening in the rest of downtown.
Oh, Victoria, thank you. Alejibres, thank you. All right, I said it felt better. Anna's Custom Treats, good morning. Lisa, good morning to you. And Jennifer Ryan Mayton, what is up? So Victoria says, love artists. She writes about them all the time. Can you share Tears for the Butterfly craft and book signing event for the kids at Cottonseed? That is right, coming up this Sunday. Also, want to let it be known that Josue says it's going to be a pretty cool weekend in downtown Aurora. And Greg says his father was an art teacher at District 129 for 30 years. Franklin Junior High, Washington Junior High. His students have done many murals around the valley. He inspired many to pursue art. Thank you for sharing that, my brother. The time is 8:15. Okay, so you grow up, you do art at West. What up?
Can I jump in?
Mm-hmm.
At what point did you realize that you could actually make money on art? Like, when was that like, oh, someone's willing to pay me for this?
It was actually oh, wow. That's a good question. I think that was junior year in high school.
Grace Cornell, good morning.
A year after meeting, Chaos. It had to be junior year, but it was in my art class. I was, still doing my thing. And I guess, some of my, classmates were like, oh, that's cool, like that. How much, can you draw me my name? And, I'll pay you. And it was like, all right, cool. So I'd be doing drawings on notebook paper or just, regular printer, white paper,
Sure.
And I'd be charging $5 that. So
Which
that
in high school is still ooh.
Yeah, so that's when I noticed oh, okay, I think, people like it, so let me continue doing that. So that's where I guess I could, say I realized how to make money with it.
Nice. Where'd you come up with the name Fundamental?
That so that was back in 2016. So before that, I would go by the name of Venom or Raul Venom. So it was I was going by that name just because I kind of thought like Venom, the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Kind of I like his
Eddie Brock, what up?
I just like his the way he looks, just like I don't know, just the way he's built. And I just kind of picked, or actually one of my friends from high school was like, oh, you know what, like you should go by the name of Venom. So I was like, all right, I'll just go with that name. But then 2016, later on, years later, it's like I really want that name. I feel like Venom's already taken. There's like a energy drink, the anti-hero. There's I think like a rock band, and then whatever else Venom already exists.
There's a rock band called Venom?
Yeah.
Oh.
And it's like, you know what? I think I want something else, something unique, something that's not really common, I would say.
Right.
So then I came across a post on Instagram by one of my favorite rappers, Fiasco. And, he's very intellectual, so he likes reading books. He would post different, like, pictures of, like, a stack of books that he's reading, and a caption would be fundamentals.
Okay.
And so I was like, I like, that caption. I was like, you know what? Let me, it was actually all by accident because I was planning to do like t-shirt designs, to, make t-shirts. And it just so happened that I was starting to do fundamental, but just, breaking it down, fundamental.
Okay.
And then I also included like a brain. And it just so happened that I just continued I had a contest for like Michael's, the craft store.
Right.
And I actually did a brain, and it was like, wow, like I actually like how it came out. And I didn't win, but it was just like, I'm really happy with this, painting. I'm like, I did that. Like, what was I thinking? Like, I really like it. And it just so happened that, little by little, the next piece, I included parts of, brain. And it was just like, oh, wow, like I'm starting to see a connection, I'm including, parts of a brain and mixing that with like graffiti. And so it was like, you know what? I just have to change my name. And that's where I kind of connected the dots, so the caption fundamentals, doing brain. I was like, you know what? If I just make it fundamental, I think that should work. So that's where, that was like back in 2016.
Nice. Okay, so real quick, guys, we do have some a good local thing that I have discovered, and it actually qualifies as it's better than CNN, baby. That's what it is. It's better than CNN. Breaking news. All right. The Kane County Sheriff's Office University has a free Aurora campus open house. It's going to be Tuesday, September 7th from 4 to 7 p.m. at Talented 10 Social Services located at 209 North Lake Street here in Aurora. Are you looking for a job? Do you need help with your resume? Would you like to receive training to get a better job? If you answered yes to any of these questions, the Kane County Sheriff's Office wants to see you. Not to lock you up, but to hook you up. Ooh, hold on. I just came up with that's the news. Kind of corny. Was it corny? Was it corny? Jeanette thinks it's Jeanette finds it super corny.
That was an Illinois farm field, and now I guess corny.
But yes, they do have an agenda. There'll be training classes, moral recognition therapy, how to start your own business with our dear friend Harriet Parkin of the Waubonsie Community College, Waubonsie Community College SBDC to be exact. You can register by noon on Friday. There is a QR code embedded in the flyer, which we will share with you after this show this morning. Shouts out to the Quad County African American Chamber of Commerce, Talented 10 Social Services, and the Aurora Regional Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. Yeah, that's good. So, Jeanette, redistricting is something that we wanted to mention as well and get your perspective on politics, because you do more than just art, right?
Just flow with it. We're just roll.
It honestly depends,
So-
but I guess I can say, it's not only art, but it kind of depends.
So this is our one piece of Jenettesplaining for the morning in this amazing mashup show we've got for you, and we're going to talk about redistricting. Here's redistricting. We've talked about it a little bit before on the show. But it's this process that the state of Illinois and actually the whole country undertakes every 10 years, right? So we have the census. And then we split up all of the districts for voting for Congress, right? For state representatives, right? So, reps and your state senators. And there is a deadline by which this has to be done. And this becomes a crazy partisan battle every 10 years. The way that it works in Illinois and the way that it works in most states is that basically whoever is in charge, like whoever currently has control of the state legislature, gets to draw the map, which is really problematic because obviously they're going to draw the map in ways that favor them, right? Mm-hmm. They're going to take, like if you look at the map in the state of Illinois, that gerrymandering thing that you learned about in high school, or were supposed to have learned about in high school when you were drawing in the back. As you should have been. We have all these salamanders crisscrossing all over the state of Illinois map, right? And if you look at the state, it gets so ridiculous. There's even there's one district, Luis Gutierrez's district, just like this shape of a G. And it's like to try and capture all of the Latinos in both. I want to say it's in Pilsen and in Humboldt Park, like at the same, it kind of curves around or whatever, right? To really dominate certain groups, right? To keep power. And so we're in the middle of that process. And there's you'll recall the census was super hard to do this year because there's a pandemic, right, and everything, and we're dealing with all kinds of census issues here in the city. Because we massively under so there, but once the census gets done, which came really late this year, that's when the state gets the numbers, and that's when they get to redraw the map. Only the Democrats were like, wait a minute, we might not get the map, we might not get the numbers in time, so we're going to use these sort of more recent numbers from what's known as the American Community Survey, which is done by the census, not as exact. And so the Democrats down in Springfield drew the map and based on those numbers, and now that so that they could meet this deadline. They didn't meet the deadline according to the state procedures. They then the redistricting process would have become bipartisan, which means they would have had to allow Republicans at the table to draw a map that would have theoretically maybe been more fair, but also probably would have ended up totally gridlocked, and they never would have agreed on anything anyway. So, and then if that happens, when there's gridlock, it ends up going to another process that might end up with So instead what they did was they drew this map early, and now that we have the official census data, they're like, well, all right, I guess we'll redo it, right? Which sounds great because now they've got better data, except now the Republicans are like, wait. So you're basically admitting that you broke the rules in drawing the map early based on this not as good data. Now the Republicans are coming in and saying it and it's going into the courts, and they're saying no, you have to do a bipartisan process. At this point, it's past the deadline. None of that data was good. And I can't believe I'm saying this, but I think I agree with the Republicans on this one, even though what I really agree with is that we should throw out this whole stupid process and use a fair map amendment instead, which would create, just basically put bureaucrats in charge of the whole thing to draw the lines without this partisan back and forth, winner take all bickering. Right. That's where we're at on redistrict.
Our dear friend of the show, Grace Cornell, says that she worked for the census and it happened too late, which made it very difficult to get accurate counts.
Yes,
interesting.
It was very late, and you're going door to door, and it was the middle of the pandemic, and nobody wanted to answer the door, right? Or a really, really difficult year to get it done. In addition, people had some other things on their minds rather than filling out the little form, right, that came to the door. And then on top of that, some communities have a trickier job of conducting the census because for whatever reason, in communities like ours where there's a large number of recent immigrant population, not wanting to answer the door because one reason or because they've got someone in the house that maybe it doesn't have all their paperwork and all that sort of thing, right? So it makes it much more difficult. In the city of Aurora, we're running into an even bigger problem, which is they did the census count. We talked about this a little bit last week, but they did the census count. And according to the census numbers, the population of Aurora fell by close to 10% over the past decade, which that look on your eyebrows tells me what every other person in Aurora knows, which is that is not right. We added more households. We have more, our traffic counts are higher, right? Because they'll put out ropes and how many cars go over. We got more cars than ever. Our water use is up, right? Like how much water is getting used in town. All of these markers that would indicate probably there's more people here than there used to be. Yeah. All of those things are going up, and yet the census is you lost 17,000 people, and it's no, we just didn't do a very good job of counting. Right. So now the mayor and staff are going back to the census people and saying, you have to redo this. We have to get a better count, and there's a process for how to do that. But that's what's happening, because what happens when we have a lower census count is not only do we get all right, does it affect redistricting, right, and how many representatives we get at the state and federal level, but it also affects how much money we get from the government. So the city is saying that they are due to lose about $31 million from in-state or in federal grants. That's money that goes to all kinds of programs, community development block grants, which help with low-income housing and all kinds of things. So it's kind of a mess.
All right. So the time is now 8:29 a.m. Maria Chorito, good morning to you, dear friend. Sally Bice, good morning. Grace, Tracy, Nicole, good morning to all you guys.
I do want to plug one more thing on the redistricting thing before we move, which is that this Sunday at 10 a.m., which is a great time to do anything civically oriented, there will be a redistricting commission hearing at the Phillips Park. So if you would like to go meet the members of the redistricting committee at the state, your representatives, they will be there holding a hearing where you can tell them that you think it's silly that one party gets to run this whole thing. Just a thought. Right. Yeah, or you can give them feedback on where the lines are getting drawn.
All right. So as you guys may know, sadly yesterday, we lost 12 Marines and 15 more wounded, in addition to a score of Afghan civilians. So, Good Morning Aurora will observe a brief moment of silence for the service members and Afghan civilians lost. Time is now 8:31 a.m. and you are listening to and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast. And we are here with a dear friend of the show, local artist, Fundamental, a.k.a. Raul Rodea. Kind of switched up, but yeah, it's all good.
That's right.
All right. So yeah, what do you got planned this weekend?
Got finished the utility box.
How far along are you?
Probably be halfway. So I'm gonna continue painting after the show. Mm-hmm. So I'm hoping to be halfway by noon, and then I'll probably take a break. Go back later on in the evening, just because it's super hot.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So gotta take a break during the midday, and then hopefully I'm planning to finish by tomorrow noon. So that's the goal. And then I have after that, I'm planning tomorrow have a pop-up solo art show. McCarty Mills.
Nice.
Next week as part of First Fridays.
Okay.
Sweet.
So I'll be the featured artist for September. So I gotta go set up my artwork, later on, tomorrow. So
Shout out to McCarty Mills.
I got that. That's keeping me busy. And then
Now, question:
Yes.
as the featured artist, do you get free beer? Because I feel like that should be part. I'm just throwing.
that's a good question.
That's a good question.
It's a valid question.
Hook you up, man.
Right.
That's a good question. So.
So Jesse Scroot says hi.
Oh, that's right.
Jesse,
Hey.
what is up?
Hey, Jesse.
What's up, Jesse? Yeah, she
Hey.
looking. What up, Jesse?
Wow.
And Josue says, talking about Phillips Park, October 25th or 26th is the dog parade. Thank you very much for that.
Happy International Dog Day yesterday, guys.
Nice.
I don't
Was
know
that yesterday?
It was yesterday. I don't know how y'all celebrated, but we
I don't
got
have pets. So
no.
I'm clueless about that.
We got you and the first word alderman. We celebrated with a puppuccino and a rabies shot. It was a great day.
Wow.
Nice.
So.
Norma Peterson says that about the census, not that they didn't do it well, people were scared to answer the door. We need to make everyone feel safe enough to agree to be counted. Thank you for sharing that, Norma.
Correct.
Good to know.
Yeah, let's not throw any shade on the people who are going door to door actually trying to count people.
Right.
That's a hard.
Carolina Sanchez, good morning to you as well. Okay, I got a couple of local items to talk about before we get back to talking only and solely about you. Don't forget, you guys, that this weekend coming up at Jake's Bagel from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., State Representative Hernandez is having her coffee and conversation. Jake's Bagels is located at 220 North Broadway. You can't miss it. It's a great place. Get something to eat. Learn about what your legislators are doing down there in Springfield and how you can contribute to the process. And then also, I would be remiss if I did not mention that our dear friends of the Aurora Public Library Foundation are trying to get a new bookmobile. So, Lace Up for Literacy starts on the 30th and it goes to September 6th. Lace Up for Literacy is a virtual walk or run of a mile that you can participate in from the comfort of your own home. You can you could do it while you're mowing lawn. You could do it on your own treadmill. But please donate, contribute, because we need a new bookmobile, because the bookmobile does a whole lot for the great city of Aurora. This time is now 8:35. Okay.
While we're talking books, are we also gonna promote the Culture Stock? It's the last day for voting for Culture Stock.
Word up.
Yeah,
That's right.
So I'm sure I know that at least one of the Culture Stock board members are listening. Go ahead and put that link in the discussion. I know you're already doing it. They were texting me yesterday like, you gotta vote. So get on that. They're trying to raise money to open the bookstore.
That's right. They won the State Farm Neighborhood Assist Grant, where they're finalists in that grant. You can vote up to 10 times a day as well, so please vote and support Culture Stock. They also have Loteria going on November's first Friday. They will be debuting Loteria, the classic card game, the Mexican card game. You can design a card. You're assigned a card. You design it, has to be a JPEG or PNG format, and then if you are selected and chosen, you will be having your Loteria version displayed. You ever played that game?
I have. It's been a while, but I have.
Yeah.
You use like beans,
Yeah.
or different things. But I remember, it's like using beans, just playing with it. But honestly, low key, I don't remember exactly how to play it.
Really?
It's been a minute, so.
Damn. Womp womp.
Yeah.
Everybody Latino in there like, nah, what the hell is this? Brother can't play Loteria?
All right. All right. So we're gonna have to have a demonstration at some point. We're gonna have to group Loteria game, right? GMA game. We'll do it. We'll figure it out.
I think we can bring people in for that.
I
think
had
people will like that.
I had a pandemic bingo game going for a while with all my friends. You could build an online bingo card game, or an online you build an online game of bingo, and then you could send it out to all your friends, and they could build their own card or whatever. And then when some awful world event happened, total economic collapse, had a space for that, had a space for it turns out that COVID's actually zombies, right? So it was filled up.
All right, so Raul, I want to get your opinion. So since you've been in the art community here for a while, how do you feel about the increase in art, the ability? Members of the Aurora Public Art Commission have mentioned that they like the ability or the process is getting a lot smoother to get art on walls and things like that. What's your opinion on that? Is it easier than it has been? Is there still a little bit too much red tape to get creativity flowing in the city? What do you think about it?
I think it's there's progress made for sure. I think compared to even 7 years ago.
Okay.
Like for me, for example, I was kind of looking into doing like my own mural.
Yeah.
But I guess at that time, I think restrictions or just like the process.
You were just gonna start painting on the wall.
I was gonna work.
Do your own mural. What the hell?
I was gonna work with someone to get my own design approved and stuff like that.
Right.
But
Well,
it's a whole story with that. But I think at that time, it seemed like the process was to get accepted and all that was very different from now. And I think I would say honestly, shout out to Jen, but I think she's really been working and kind of pushing, and to kind of further and kind of help artists that just to kind of get them to have the space to paint their own stuff. So I think because I know obviously Jen, she didn't have that art director position back in 2014.
Right.
So that's for me, for example. So I think there's been progress for sure, and I think it's little by little. I think something is better than nothing.
Right.
So I think it's definitely been it's a lot better, I would say, compared than a few years ago.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
several years ago in Aurora, you couldn't paint on a wall at all.
For
Really,
sure.
everything was considered graffiti at that point. And from the government perspective, there's always a significant fear, and I know this well because I also I work with the Cultural Arts Commission. My job in another community, and it's quite a challenge because there's always this fear. What if we put it up and people don't like it? What if we put it up and then it starts to not look good over the years? What if we put it up and there's Nazi symbolism hidden in the painting and then we don't find out until years later, and then it's all there's always this crazy stuff, right? And it turns out that for the most part, if you put paint on the wall, it just looks cool, right? Or it engages people,
right? For sure.
And makes people think. And so there was this huge fear, I think, for a really long time for municipalities of all sizes, and now I think people are going to come around. Sure. You run into restrictions everywhere.
Yeah.
It is a difficult thing to get done. But once communities get a taste for it, it's almost like with tattoos, right? You get the first one, and you're like,
yeah,
now I want another one.
Right? Yeah, for sure. So.
They're covered.
Bianca Camargo, good morning to you, dear friend. Thank you for tuning in, Bianca. So got a couple more things to talk about here. So Christina Campos is a dear friend of the show. She works for Family Focus. There's a great event coming up on Tuesday the 31st called The Layperson's Guide to Mental Illness. It will be a virtual event, learn about how treatment works, and resources available, and much, much more. It'll be from 6 to 7 p.m. It'll be online. We have the link. I'll put that in the chat for you guys in just a moment. What is art therapy?
Art therapy, I would say it's, I think it's just being able to release, I think for me, it's kind of expression, so for me, I kind of go by expression is the fundamental. And obviously expressing is, but for me at least, it's creating. So I
had to, bro. Yeah. That was. I like how you did that. I like how you did that. Yeah.
I think art therapy, it's in the form it's kind of expressing, releasing. Obviously for artists, I would say that's just the way you if you're kind of being, if you get attention, from other things, I think art is like your escape, and that's where I think you can just go all in. And that's where, lots of times, you just get into whatever, if it's art that you're just working on. And then it's like you start to kind of forget other things. And I think for me, that's just, art therapy where, it just kind of relieves, it just kind of let go and you just get in your zone. And I think it's just kind of releasing, anything else, if you have tensions, just other things. I think that's what it is.
Entering that state of flow.
Yeah, and even with, people who are not necessarily artists, I think that, there's people out there who might just do that for a hobby. And I think that's also a way where it's like, all right, haven't picked up a brush and paint in, years, let me get back to it.
Nice.
So I think that's, for me, that's just art therapy. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jeanette, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, in the clinical setting, much, because if you've ever been in a hospital, they usually incorporate art into, funny because you'll see people who don't think of them in any way, right? Who are dealing with all kinds of stress there. Often then put how you feel down. And sometimes it's just like people need another way, because you sit there and you talk, right? Like if you're in a hospital setting, all you're doing is something like talking about your feelings, or like, but there's something, sometimes people need another, right?
For
Sometimes they need colors and textures and things, like patterns and things to express, like get out.
Right. Yeah, I had seen, I think, somewhere, I can't remember, but it's been a few years, but there's like a place where it's like, just like seniors, like older people, and I think they've had like Alzheimer's, but I guess they get involved in painting, and I think that's kind of helped them to activate,
build connections between their neurons, or try to preserve the ones that they still have.
It kind of seemed like they were kind of engaging in, painting.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of helped them to activate, kind of remember things.
Right.
So I think kind of, interesting and.
Yeah, so here's your plan for the weekend, guys. You've got like a whole calendar of events. You're going to go have coffee with your representative, right, on 9 a.m. at Jake's Bagel. Then you're going to go down the street. You're going to go to Alley Art Fest. You're going to see a whole bunch of art, right? Then you're going to go off the wall thing. That's later, right, in the day. You're going to see more art there. And then you're going to go get you some art supplies. Get it all out, right? Go.
Right.
Yeah. Because it's a art, like democracy, is for sport.
That's right. That
Yeah.
is right. That is totally right. So also, guys, want to tell you about the Alive Teen Center. They have a mentorship program going on right now for young adults. Alive Teen Center has 2 locations. One is in Naperville by 5th Avenue Station. That is the Metra train station, the BNSF rather. And then the other is downtown Aurora, across the street from the Calais Lily Tea Room. And right there on LaSalle Street. They do great things, and if you are interested in becoming a mentor or have a young person who'd be good, you can email Jeff at alivecenter.org or go to the website at www.alivecenter.org. All right, the time is now 8:46 a.m. You are tuned into, listening, and watching Good Morning Aurora, the second largest city's first daily news podcast with our friends. Okay, so people like to hear our local folks give some shout outs to local businesses. So where do you hang out at here in Aurora? What do you shout out some locals, give some love? Please do, because if you leave the show and somebody emails like, why he didn't holler at us when we was going to do a thing with him, they'll be mad. Right. You know what I'm saying? So let's take care of that up top.
Okay. Shout out to Good News Barbershop.
Oh, okay.
David, he actually hooked me up with all Oh, shout out to Legacy Nutrition Fitness.
Okay, all right.
You know, he hooked me up with a nice cold drink yesterday while I was painting.
Bet him up.
So that was,
Across the corner.
nice
Yeah.
thing, about that. But also, having a healthy drink,
Yeah.
burn some calories,
Mhm.
So shout out to Nutrition Fitness. Shout out to Big Boss Barbershop.
Okay.
Cool barbers in there. Shout out to Society 57 for, having me paint the, I guess their utility box, in that
Right.
corner. So
I'm not wearing my shirt. I have my.
And well, shout out to Primo too.
Primo, okay.
I'm also having I'll be part of their retro market for
September
5th.
That's right.
Next Sunday. So after this Sunday. So shout out to Primo too. I think,
Okay.
they're doing big things out there, and I'm excited to be part of their event. So
This is their second annual, right?
I believe so.
Oh, okay, yeah, I think that's their second annual market. We shared that to our Instagram story. So yeah, shouts out.
And shout out to Good Morning Aurora. So thank
Oh,
you guys
come
for
on,
having
baby.
me. So
Come on,
thank
baby.
you for having me, guys. Part 2. So.
Y'all heard it from the horse's mouth.
right.
He said this is part 2. And the reason why he said part 2 is because we did an interview with Raul,
right.
which is on our YouTube, on Spotify. Subscribe to the show. You can hear it. You can see it. You can do all of that great stuff. That was a good conversation that we had that day.
That's correct.
It was.
If
That
you
was
are
awesome.
not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what are you thinking? Because it'll notify you. It'll be like, hey, there's a new show, and then you can see the new show when it comes out. You should do that. So go I know you watch, you listen on the Spotify, you listen on and all of that, and that's all great. Go to YouTube and hit the button. That's it. That's our plug for the day.
All right. So one of the things that we did talk about this week as well, and it was brought to my attention last night from a dear friend. Let us do our part to continue to highlight the importance of vaccines. Let us not forget the community that we have here. VNA is there to help you on Highland Avenue in Aurora. There's a lot more vaccine events coming via Kane County, Illinois Department of Public Health. They are teaming up with relevant stakeholders like the Neighbor Project located at 32 South Broadway, who are here to help you in many areas, including housing. The ERAP program, as launched by Hesed House, is now live. If you or anyone you know is struggling with paying your mortgage or your rent or such things as utilities, you can contact the Neighbor Project at 630-906-9400. That number again is 630-906-9400. The time is now 8:50 a.m. So we got a great interview coming up with a scientist after the show. So we got to wrap it up like 5 minutes. But before
Scientist,
we do,
statesman.
I want you, Raul, to give our people your opinion of how Aurora as a city is moving forward. We know that COVID was hard for a lot of people. Everything was shut down. We see a little bit of life, bubbling activity. Things are looking good, still safe. Get the lead out, River Edge Park here, little Mundy Park venue kind of stuff there. What is your opinion? Are we headed in the right direction? Are things opening? How do you feel? Are you optimistic? What do you think?
What do you want to see now?
You mean like in relation to like COVID, just like how it affected last year?
I mean,
And just
everything,
kind of
baby.
reopening?
Look,
Just
salt,
everything?
It is
everything.
an
Relish, tomatoes, onions, all of it, dog.
It's an open-ended
Okay.
question.
Word up.
That's a good question. I think it's I think there's some progress for sure. I think I've seen a lot, with I guess, lots of programs out there, offering like assistance, like for like families, whether it's, economic assistance. I guess, if it's also kind of like medical assistance, also seen that too. I guess with like kids, I think too. There's been I would say, more like programs, for kids,
Okay.
outside of like school. So I think that's also important, just to kind of keep kids, out of trouble. Lots of them, or I would say, when there's not resources for that, it's kind of it tends to kind of let kids just find other ways, other paths, and not necessarily the right path. And
Right.
I think if it's programs out there, whether it's art, music, theater, whatever it is, I think that's also good. And I think it's kind of been better or progress, because you gotta start kids at a young age, that way they can kind of evolve, progress, as they grow up, and just kind of keeping them busy with something that they can kind of find their way and just kind of grow up, kind of embracing that. I think that's also, I've seen, I think there's definitely a problem with just program for kids. And also I would say like local businesses, I think definitely I would say that impacts economy and
Right.
in one way, so I think there's definitely gonna increase, just with more local businesses. Obviously, if you look at it like 10 years ago or so, you didn't really see that. But I think even with that, there's also like programs if you're thinking about starting local business, local businesses. I've also seen there's also programs for that, whether you want to start your own place. I've also seen about that. So I think that's also good,
Good.
definitely, because it just helps, people who have ever wanted to have their own place. I think that's great, So I think there's progress for sure.
Good.
So
All right. The time is 8:55. We're about to wrap it up. Jeanette, any last word for folks?
Get out and go see some art and stuff in downtown Aurora this weekend. It's absolutely the weekend to do that. So
Nice. Yes, get out there, support local. Also, do not forget that not only is democracy a spectator sport, not only is art not a spectator sport. Did I say democracy was a spectator sport?
you did. It's fine.
All right.
We knew we
Democracy
were
and art are not spectator
Not spectator,
sports. Not only are they
participatory.
not spectator sports, you have
Get
to
out there and do some
participate
intramurals.
in them. Go out, support our art community this weekend. Shout out to Alley Art Fest in downtown Aurora. We appreciate all of you guys for tuning in to the show. We will see you here next week. Monday is a very special day. So we will be debuting something cool for you on Monday. What up, baby?
can I jump in?
Yeah.
Forgot to shout out McCarty Mills.
Ah.
Yeah, word
I
up.
do that.
McCarty Mills.
Shout out
Shouts
to
out.
McCarty
He's gonna
Mills
hook
too.
us all
So
up with free beer, we heard.
Yeah, so-
Dora, Alvin, Devin, what is up to the whole
shout out
family?
to you guys too. So
And I hope that you guys all have a great, blessed weekend. Subscribe to the show on YouTube, Spotify. Become a patron. You get a mug. Dan, hope you got yours. Norma, thank you. Got your mug. Hope that you guys have a great, safe weekend. Take care of yourself and each other.
Adios,
right.
Aurora.
peace out.